Have you ever thought about living in a small town in Montana? Well, today we're in Whitehall, Montana, just east of the Continental Divide here, and it's just had a dusting of snow just a little before Thanksgiving. And so we're going to go out in Whitehall, take a look at some of the neighborhoods here, take a look at some price points. If this is a place that you think you'd like to live, it's a great recreational area. And we're going to, here on the Montana Real Estate Channel, we're brought to you by Cyphers Family Real Estate. We've been helping folks move around the state of Montana and into the state of Montana since 1966. And if we can help you, we'd love to be a resource for you. All the information in order to get a hold of us is in the description below. So tap that logo over on the right-hand side of your screen and be notified whenever we come out with a new video about places and things around Montana. Let's go out and take a look at Whitehall.
Yeah, here we are coming into Whitehall off of Interstate 90. Right there is the Chamber of Commerce building. And right here is the ubiquitous town pump. You can always find a town pump somewhere. And now you can see how our transportation used to work in Montana. It's the covered wagon and a gift shop right across the road. The water tower, happily serving Whitehall, and school marquee describing events that are coming. And right here, we have a log structure in the original town site of Whitehall that was built in 1947. Many of these early homes that you see along Whitehall Street were in fact built in the early 1900s, 1915 being the earliest or so. And so these structures have been around quite a while, and we have some infill here and there. But these are very old structures, and they have some been renovated. But this is an old part of town, the original town site of Whitehall. And in there, we also have some manufactured homes, various spots within the community. These are not in trailer parks. They're just actually in the town itself. And this is quite common in small communities in Montana. Manufactured homes are relatively inexpensive, so they provide great housing for those with that kind of a budget. Like so many small towns in Montana, it came up around the railroad. Whitehall began as a railroad depot for the Northern Pacific and Montana Railroad in September of 1889, the same year that Montana became a state. It's within Jefferson County and sits in an area between the Tobacco Root Mountains and the Highland Mountain ranges, and it sits in an elevation of 4,360 feet. The population as of the 2020 census was 1,006 folks. Some famous people who are from Whitehall include Jeannie Barbwire McNulty King and Chet Huntley, who co-anchored the Huntley-Brinkley Report on NBC from 1956 to 1970. Whitehall is within 60 miles of 3 major airports, 4 colleges, and 5 ski resorts, making this quiet little burg very unique. Here on Legion Avenue, or Highway 2, Montana Highway 2, we see a variety of businesses, including coming up right here is Intermountain Health, associated with St. James Hospital out of Butte. So as we go through this area, if you have any comments, we'd love to hear them. Tell us what you think or know about Whitehall. It's always good to have a place to store your items, and here's a mini storage right there. And then if you have a big truck coming off of I-90, you can wash it there. Now we're going to go out into the rural area of Whitehall, and there are still ranches around and larger plots of ground. And we're going to take a little trip here and take a look at some of them that are out in the countryside. The home we just saw there is on 1.34 acres. And then there are larger tracts as we head north on Mormon Lane. We can see in the background a manufactured home, and then we'll have a new home coming right up here, and then just beyond that, another one. It's important to know that in Montana, there are Department of Revenue appraisers that give you a valuation and your taxes based on that, depending on a mill levy that's taxed for school and various other entities in the community that get tax dollars. But it's important that this is not necessarily based on market. This home, for example, was built in 1979, 1,600 on 10 acres with 4 bedrooms and 3 baths at just $540,000, and that certainly would not be the market value of it, given the fact that, of course, we had a 5-acre parcel that was $625,000 sale just recently, a 2-bed, 2-bath, built in 2008. Now, in this area, we had a home that was built in 1980. It was a 4-bedroom, 2 3/4 bath, 3,264 square feet, and it sold on a 1/4-acre lot for $360,000. And that translates to $110 a square foot, which is very cheap for Western Montana. And when I say Western Montana, if you take the state of Montana and look at it and draw a line north and south, down generally the center of it, I would say that anything on the right is Eastern Montana, anything on the left is Western Montana. So that's my definition of Western Montana. Now we're coming up on the Whitehall School, and in pre-kindergarten, 480 students according to niche.com, and this represents a student-to-teacher ratio of 20-1. This is where Jeannie McNulty went to school, as she ended up being one of the great athletes over there at the University of Montana. That home right there recently sold for $475,000. It was built in 1910, 2,984 square feet, a 4-bedroom, 2-bath home in the original town site of Whitehall. It was represented by McLeod Real Estate. It was Gina Ocello out of Holmes. Their address is 1905 Holmes Avenue in Butte. And here's the post office in Whitehall. And these structures on Main Street are in the original town site and quite old. And this building, for example, at the end of the block is owned by folks out of New York City. And this is a park there between Main Street and the railroad tracks, or Legion. And of course, the railroad was very instrumental in the founding of Whitehall and fire department there, and kind of a gazebo type affair for picnicking. And we can tell you that we do a tremendous amount of research on real estate, whatever community we're working in. So don't hesitate to reach out to us on any community that you are thinking about wanting to know more information. We can do the research. Our motto is research, information, and strategy, and we've been doing it since 1966. Headed up McNulty Way, named after Bill McNulty, who was a real estate visionary who grew up in Butte, Montana, and raised his family in the Bitterroot Valley. But he had this idea of developing a sky park, and he developed this in the mid-'80s. It's called Jeffco Sky Park. It's got a 3,800 Kentucky bluegrass runway at an elevation of 4,510 feet. And of course, we're proud to know his daughter, Jeannie McNulty King, and a colleague of ours, Mike McNulty, who works out of our Missoula office. And this is a new development there in Whitehall. As you can see, these are brand new homes. They're not part of Jeffco Sky Park, but they're right next door, somewhere in the 1+ acre range. And homes there go into the mid 500s, between 1,600 and 2,100 square feet. You enjoyed that video on Whitehall, Montana. Thanks for watching the Montana Real Estate Channel.